Hello, welcome to Waiting for Game, Melee Stats podcast. And everyone, I hope you were nice to my little substitute host last week. I took a little week off, vacationing by the beach, by the sea breeze. So I really hope that you treated the Edwin Buddings of the world pretty well. I'm Gimme Dat Wheat. I'm a tournament seeder, top 100 organizer, and my co-host here today is Edwin Budding, author of the Book of Melee, and we have a great episode here today. Not only is today an episode about Summit, right? We're finally there. We can finally talk about Summit. We have a guest who's able to match that prestige. Possibly the person in Smash who has helped me the most of any person. It is Arizona's own, The Cheat. What is up, Mikey?
Whoa. Hello. Good to be here. I'm in West Covina, California, which is an experience. Glad to be here.
Do you remember the moment I'm talking about? Do you remember the moment you helped me out a lot?
I don't think I do. I'm trying to go back through the Wheat memories.
It's Main Stage 2019.
That did, yes.
It was after I was drunkenly bragging to you about how I saw Vampire Weekend live.
Yes.
It happened after that. Do you remember what happened?
We went to, was it Del Taco?
We went to Taco Bell, yeah.
Taco Bell, okay, Taco Bell.
Yeah, one of the, probably one of the best experiences I've had in all of Smash. It's one of those things like, this is why you play this game for years. This is why you pour dedication into the game. And obviously, you helped me out a lot, which was a great experience, but you've been able to pass that on. You've been able to help out a lot of other people in the Smash community. And I think we kind of have a leading example of who might have gained a lot from your help. You know who I'm talking about?
Are you talking about one Nicholas Yingling?
I'm talking about Nicholas Yingling. Yeah, that is the story. Edwin, do you remember, what is the closest analog to this in terms of, I guess, Summit? Is there any other analog to, anything else that you know of?
I might have mentioned this before in a previous episode, but the closest thing that I can really think of was someone who did not make Summit, and that was the campaign of Smash Bob SquarePants in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the closest thing we truly have seen to someone like Yingling making Summit. And the difference is Yingling was actually successful.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted to start this off with a pretty straightforward question for you, Mikey. When did you realize that you wanted to really jump into this and give it your all to get him into Summit?
Right off the bat, once we learned that he was eligible, basically, we have been stockpiling Nick Yingling memes since 2015, waiting to use them for the correct moment. This was the confluence of a whole bunch of just different factors that came together for Nick to be able to be in this position. It's not also like he's just making it in because we think it's funny or anything like that. There's been a lot of misconception actually about his qualification. People are like, oh, well, he got in because of the Galint spring tournament where he got 49th and there were DQs in his bracket, which the DQs part isn't even true. The reason that he qualified was because of the 17th place at the earlier Galint tournament also. Yeah. So he's been upping his activity and his placements in net play tournaments over the course of the pandemic. So we were just like, all right, this is the time. This is going to be a wild Summit. Nobody's going to know what to expect because of all of the people who are eligible from the net play world. And we know that there are some Nick fans out there. So we want to capture that zeitgeist. And we knew that right off the bat. We were just like, okay, we might be able to make something happen here. It's going to be tough, but there's a spark and we knew it immediately.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I agree. Smash Bob SquarePants is probably the closest analog, but even then, it's a different ballpark. Mm-hmm. What do you think was the difference between something like his campaign and what you guys did with Nick Yingling's campaign? Why was this one successful where a Smash Bob or another, I don't want to call anyone a meme pick, but a maybe unconventional pick is the nicer word.
Yeah, I don't know like a whole lot about like the inner mechanisms of what Smash Bob did for the Summit campaign, but I really think that our campaign had a bunch of just like talented people in various ways like coming together to sort of make it happen on this beautiful canvas that was Nick Yingling, who I think is kind of like Melee's ultimate hype man. Like I've been talking about a lot. That's what me and Nick like talk about all the time. It's just like stuff that would be hype for the Melee community, stuff that we can do with Smash Camp, stuff that we can do with the Nick Yingling experience, which is his personally branded tournament. Um, so I think Nick has ingratiated himself with a lot of people in a really like genuine way. And we saw that like over the course of the campaign when he's like name searching and replying to people who are asking who the fuck is Nick Yingling and saying like, hey, what's up? That's me. I'm running for Summit. How's it going? And so I think it's that combined with just like all of the content that we were able to make. Obviously, like the frame one stuff, it was a big part of it. Having someone kind of in the back pocket who just makes controllers and is willing to like give some away for the cause was amazing. Even my wife painting the fish, doing digital art for people who voted for Nick Yingling. All the people who made content like Fire Yams coming through with that insane video with the fucking German interrogation motif there. Uh, all of that I think was like above and beyond the normal Call of Duty for what your usual Melee community member is expected to do. Like everyone just kind of stepped up and wanted to put on for the boy, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, like you hit the nail on the head here, right? So I've got Edwin on the podcast. He brings up the shill in me, so I will shill. I wrote an article on PJ stats, pajama stats. No, I wrote an article on PG stats this week, which they actually let me call "Who the heck is Nick Yingling?"
Mm-hmm.
Which unfortunately I was not able to devote the entire piece to Nick Yingling, but it highlights the 6 people who we saw get voted in, 3 people who have been in like 6 summits already at least, and then 3 people who've not only never been in a summit, never been top 100. And Nick is that's the question mark there, right? But in the piece, I call it possibly the greatest campaign ever. I'm just going to say it was the greatest campaign ever.
Yeah, I think easily.
What you are running, what you ran, I guess, and someone like, I mean, Wizrobe, or like whoever the Wizrobe position is every year, is that like Summit is ostensibly a tournament that has the 16 best players in the eyes of some people. What it really is it has the 10 best players and 6 people who got voted in. And you'll have a lot of people who are resting on their laurels as a player who could get top 8. I mean, in terms of Wizzy, as a player who could possibly even win. But that's not what the tournament's about. If we're about the 16 best players would get invited. And in terms of campaign, there was more passion. There was more content. You mentioned that was a huge one. There was just more love put into that than I've seen from any other campaigner, regardless of like their actual level of skill. So I think you guys really knocked that out of the park.
Yeah, there are some factors at play here that I absolutely abhor. I think it's kind of a bummer that the fact of the matter is that your job as a Melee player, and really this is true for like any entertainment sport or product of any kind, is to, like, as Slime said, sell Doritos. And so I really do wish that there could be a platform where Wizrobe didn't really like and there are platforms obviously where Wizrobe can be recognized for his competitive excellence without the obligation of having to do something like that. But the fact of the matter is that we were kind of able to co-opt this in order to do something that was really cool for our friend. And I think actually like net positive. I will maintain that no matter how many Reddit comments berate me and Nick to the contrary. So, I think I think that there's, some stuff to contend with there, but ultimately I'm proud of what we did.
Well, I also want to mention that, it's not like Nick got in the first round. There was a moment where you guys were playing the Titanic ending on stream. It looked pretty scary. None had a bomb. Wizzy was leading for a while. And this kind of brings me to the next question I wanted to ask you. Like, was there any kind of contingency plan for what would happen if Nick didn't get in?
Fuck no. The closest that we had was me tweeting at Hotbid and half jokingly saying, hey, if Nick loses, we'll take just straight up 2 tickets to an NBA Finals game as consolation. You know, we'll do it. There was no contingency plan, and we were scared. We were running out of things to to put together, but ultimately we had some more gas in the tank. We had some more content to be made. We had another controller to give away. So it got us over the top in the end. But yeah, we were legitimately like,
ride or die.
Are there going to be like $50,000 pumped into this campaign that just effectively go to waste here? That was the fear.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something beautiful in it, right? I mean, like, I kind of gotta pick my words carefully because I think Nick is a very good player. We haven't mentioned any of his wins. He beat Elliot, I believe. He also beat Rocket, which is the Chilean young link. He's definitely got have some wins here and there. He's nothing to scoff at. But yeah, I mean, it's like he clearly meant something to people on a level that a top 20 player didn't. Like, him getting this opportunity was a more human experience than S2J getting in for the however manyth time. And like, obviously, yeah, dude, if this happened when I was just a Redditor, I'd be pissed. I would be one of the people who would probably be mauling. But like, I don't know, once you take a step back, once you've been in the community, once you've been to tournaments and majors and get to meet people from around the world, you definitely have a respect for just the people who are willing to put all of their time in for what, right? Like, obviously, you have the people who are making a living off of this, which is a very small percentage. And then you have everyone else who is just like taking time off from work as like using their vacation time to fly to a tournament where they will not get out of, they won't make top 64. They might not make it to round 2 pools. And like, that dedication is something that I think is like, I don't know, people love that. And I think it was weird. Nick became something bigger than himself, at least in my eyes. He embodied something. He was a concept.
I agree. And Nick, for this very tournament, by the way, was like, oh shit, we have to fly out on Tuesday. I might not be able to make that work. Like, I have to request these hours off. He is the everyman, like as much as we kind of joke about that with the whole I am Nicholas Yingling thing. I think you're right that there is something relatable there. And I think that ultimately the lofty high goal with this is to demonstrate to people who are coming into a community with 20 years of history that you can come in and have a meaningful impact and a meaningful experience within the community without necessarily being a world beater, right? That has to be how our community is built in order for us to get anywhere in the future, I think. And so that's how I at least find myself able to sleep at night while S2J is unfortunately going to be at home.
Well, there's a VIP pass, but yeah, Edwin, what's up?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
So what one other question I had about Yingling is, as we mentioned before, Yingling is a respectable player, has a few good wins here and there. He's been good in Arizona for a while. As far as like Summit is as an opportunity, like, I mean, I guess this would be a better question to ask him directly, but like, how do you see his time slip between being a competitor and being a TO and still remaining involved in the scene through other ways moving forward? Could it be that we see Yingling going out to more events after Summit, like when majors return? Could it be that he'll be traveling out of region a lot more often?
He has been traveling. I think he probably goes to like 4 or 5 major tournaments a year, I would say.
Okay.
He plays in pretty much 2 locals a week now that they're back and running in Arizona. So like he He is definitely more of a player than a TO, I would say. Like Smash Camp and Nick Yingling experience have become like kind of annual events at this point, especially Smash Camp, of course. But we have like little side projects that we work on here and there, like Axis Pizza Party and stuff. But like Nick is not like running monthlies or like weeklies or anything like that. He primarily is a player, I would say. So
Okay.
I think that's going to continue. I legitimately think that he is like the aspect about Summit that is most appealing to him is the gameplay. I think that's evident, how serious he is about that, and like his willingness to pay for Leffen coaching, which was controversial, even though we didn't know that it was him at the time. And just the sheer amount of Melee that he's been playing. So if anyone is worried about that, I can rest. I can hopefully give you some peace of mind in knowing that he is taking the opportunity seriously as like a gameplay growth opportunity.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it would make for good content if one of us played a Stephen A. Smith and yelled about how, I don't know, S2J deserved this. But, like, I can't. I got to agree. He is someone who I wouldn't have picked if you gave me 20 players or whatever. I would not have picked him, but now when the campaign, I got to see everything, just like seeing it all through. Yeah, dude, at the end of it, I got so excited. This means something more to me than what will happen at Summit. Literally, whatever happens at Summit doesn't matter. I know there's a lot of people. Unless he wins, then I guess we make a couple Melee stats videos off of that.
Right.
Ride that.
I think we just become a Yingling channel.
Yingling highlights. I definitely think that there's like this idea for the last seed. I think this is the nicest way to put worst player. But there's there's this idea that they have to prove themselves at the event and they have to win a game or a set, otherwise it's a lost spot. Dude, we've seen enough of Summit at this point where that Summit has its own thing, right? I'm happy to say that it is one of the biggest majors for people at the top, but then also at the bottom, I don't know. That's a completely different opportunity. I'm so happy to see like Priscent make it in Smash Summit 9. I'm happy to see Yingling make it, and completely different reasons. This is sick. Now, like, I don't know. Am I campaigning for him for Smash Summit 12? Who knows?
Fuck no. We're never doing this again.
But yeah, the idea of this, the concept of it, I mean, and Nick himself, like, what a crazy story. Dude, never would have called this, and you got to pat yourself on the back for that.
Yeah, I never would have called it until July 5th, when it actually happened.
My mom's birthday.
Oh, nice.
Maybe that had some
birthday, Mama Wheat.
Happy birthday, Miss Wheat.
I will say
that makes it sound like your wife. Never mind.
I will say that I am looking forward to the third incarnation of Edwin Budding's Twitter account as a Nick Yingling highlights account.
It might be a Smash birthday account. It might go somewhat back to its roots.
12 days, Wheat. 12 days.
12 days to the big day.
The most important day in Melee history.
Nick Yingling highlights. That would be a good next career path for us.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a rocket ship that only goes up.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about already converting to a Hungry Box fan club, kind of like not just a video making channel, but like a whole community and everything.
I think that's
Yingling
like
ends up winning.
It's like our cyanide pill in like a fake tooth. That's like that. What is that for us? If this ever goes downhill, we're like really plateauing. Then suddenly
we just go full
H-Box fan cams.
Carry up the H-Boss mantle, so to speak.
Oh yeah, rest in peace. Hungry Boss, Cool Melee Facts, Pepis, all gone too soon.
Applebee's Esports as well.
Applebee's Esports, Today in Smash, all gone too soon.
Never
Mikey,
forget
what would you do if Nick Yingling suddenly had the most subs on Twitch?
What would I do?
And you have seen the rise of both Ludwig and Nick Yingling to these meteoric highs.
This is such a weird question because this has happened to me before.
Yeah, that's why.
Happens again.
If it happens a second time, do you start to question something?
Yes. That is when I start my collections calls, actually, is when Nick Yingling skyrockets above Mr. Sandwich from Braless Wife Man.
Man, I don't do the I've been in Ludwig's house often because I've been there once and I wasn't there for Ludwig. But my cousin is 12 and he was watching. He was like, "Hey, do you know Alpharad?" And I don't. So I had to pull something. I felt like I was put on the spot. And I was like, "Well, you know Ludwig, right?" I was in his house. And he's like, "I don't know who Ludwig is." I was like, "What the
shit.
Dude, yeah, as I had nothing else."
I don't know if you saw. I got married
in
March of 2020. There you go. Ludwig was there, and also there was my little cousin Max, 14 years old. Comes up to me, very excited. Mikey, is that Ludwig?
That's cute.
And he takes a picture with him, and he calls him Shortwig, which is, I believe, a joke that I made up at Shine 2018 when we had the whiteboards, where we lots of funny memes to come out of those, like editing Vicious whiteboard to say Reagan traded arms for hostages and shit like that. But where I wrote, I was like, here's what Ludwig doesn't want you to see, people at home, and I wrote Lud equals 5'9" on it. And I think that was the genesis of the Ludwig is short joke. And so hearing my normie 14-year-old cousin repeat that joke back to me at my wedding was a stark reminder of the parasocial post-apocalyptic wasteland that we live in during my wedding, which was otherwise very lovely. And I love my wife very much.
I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you, Edwin.
Not just the story, but that you love your wife, especially. That's
the best
genuinely
part.
wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Edwin, you're a big spouse lover yourself, right?
Yes, for sure. And I, as previous listeners to the show may have heard before, I've had my own celebrity moment. Basically, my spouse's best friend was dating a guy, and when I met him for the first time, he recognized me from Melee Stats.
Wow.
Is this the third podcast in a row where you brought this up?
Yeah, I think it might be the third or fourth, honestly.
Keep it going.
And as soon as I said, like, yeah, that's me, my spouse literally just goes like this, and everyone kind of looks in confusion because like I told them before, like, yeah, like I'm not like, it's not like I'm instantly recognizable, but if I'm at a major, like a few people recognize me for like Melee Stats and the different work I do, and this guy happened to recognize me, and now he's like one of my best friends.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Quickly, I want to go back to you, Edwin, because I'm sure you've got some more knowledge to drop. But one of the really funny things was when I was doing Melee Stats deep dives, which featured a guest by the name of the cheat.
Yes,
so I would read those like 3 YouTube comments all the time, like on each episode. By the way, you can like, comment, and subscribe on this video when it gets uploaded to the Melee Stats archive channel on YouTube. But I do read those comments, and I found it really funny one time because I went to something and someone was like, "I saw you at whatever Genesis," and I was going to say something, but I didn't. I was like, "Wait, I'm like, there's so many levels to this. There's like so many more people who you should have like you should be starstruck in front of."
You're supposed to be flattered, You're not supposed to question it.
Dude, I had to be hyped if a deep dives episode got like 200 views on YouTube. It was clearly not something that you should like. They probably had more Twitter followers than me.
Oh my god, those are the days, dude.
I had while I was the first time I met Scar and Toph was at Evo 2018. It was not the crown jewel of that tournament though, because in the course of being with those guys and Ludwig, I met Practical Tass or rather, Practical Tass introduced himself to Bobby Scar. Very elusive, Mr. Practical Tass. And I do not remember what his face looks like, so presumably we'll never meet again. And even if we do, I won't know it.
Because he is just like a he's like a NPC is a very loaded term right now. But he is a type of character who you can just so there's PTAS, who's like the Canadian version of this, and then Curly W is like the FGC version of this player. Cardano is the European version. It's all like they're all cut from the same cloth right here. In fact, at EVO 2018, where I believe I met you in person first at that after party, but at EVO 2018,
that's right, yeah.
For whatever reason, Curly W walked up to me and Ambi, was like, "Hey, have you seen PTAS?" It's like, PTAS, why are you saying this to me? Because really they were dressed exactly the same, glasses, brown curly hair. I guess PTAS doesn't wear glasses. I don't even remember.
Did we end up meeting at that party, Cheat?
I don't remember. And that's not because I was drunk. I was sober as a goddamn judge.
That's why I don't remember.
Yeah, all right. You know, it's
you had too many Hadoukens, Edwin.
something like that. I was hanging out with one of my friends from Smash GG who was working there, and we literally just played and drank all night.
Very nice.
All right, I think this is a pretty good transition, and by good transmission, I mean I'm just gonna force it into the Edwin Budding Stock Exchange. So basically, if you're familiar with the show, it's 3 rounds of basically like a round table speed round kind of format where I ask a question and you guys give an answer. But before any of that, I'm going to explain to you what each segment is. Or at least I'll explain to you what the first segment is right now. So the first segment is called Buy One, Sell One. So essentially, I'm going to ask both of you a question, and it's going to involve 2 entities or 2 things in Melee. And you have to buy one thing and you have to sell the other thing. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay, we're moving into the Stephen A. Smith portion of the show now.
Yeah, Stephen A. and Skip Bayless. I'm talking early 2010s first take territory.
And then who's the Shannon Sharp third wheel kind of? Which we will talk about this later. Anyway, let's begin.
All right, Mikey, buy one, sell one, Deft or Yingling?
Shit, no, Deft farms Yingling for sure. So, you know, if previous results, I don't know, there could be a summit level up. But I think that Deft, for a while at least, I will be buying Deft over Yingling, unfortunately.
All right, wait.
I think Deft is super good. I'm going to buy Deft because I don't know how long he's going to be in Japan, but I think the idea of a Marth player in Japan is going to get like so many people who care about him. He really, all he has to do is like level up there, beat all of their Fox players because they like don't have Marths, and then just come back to America and not lose to Slime.
I forget. I am changing my answer because at Deft's going away party, Nick was farming him so hard in friendlies that he momentarily left out of Salt. And I'm sorry to blow up your spot, Deft, but that information absolutely changes this answer. It had to be shared. So I'm changing my answer to Yingling.
Okay, well, we'll move on to the second buy one, sell one. Wheat, buy one, sell one. Peach players complaining about commentary or commentators complaining about Peach players complaining?
I guess I will. Dude, this is rough. I'll buy the Peach players complaining about commentary. First off, I think Dark Atma I would consider a chic player. I don't know how that changes everything, but yeah, I gotta say it's not a good look from either people. You know, when the commentators, if they don't realize that you are like double jump landing, down smashing, Q out of shield, Q drop, if they don't mention that, it's not a big deal. They're talking to the people who like only know Hungry Box and hacks for other reasons. So like obviously they don't have to really go into this, but sure, I'll stick with my Peach brethren, this character who I haven't played in God knows how long.
All right, thank you.
So I think that there is a valid point to be made about commentators maybe affecting the career trajectories of players when they talk shit about them. A la Hugs 86. I think ultimately that's probably for Hugs' benefit because it's kind of like anyway, I think that there's something to be said for that. However, I will pick commentators complaining about Peach players complaining about commentators. Because in general, I just think that complaining about commentary is not cool, especially when done a public way. I don't think it's productive. I think if you really want to be productive with someone, you can like DM them or something like that. But yeah, as a commentator myself, I feel like if I would be a bit of a scab to the union if I were to answer any differently.
Look, you gotta stick to your commentators. I
All
gotta
right.
stick to my Peach players.
There we go. Yeah, nothing against the Peach players. I think Peach is sick. I will never complain about any character beyond, something that is like obviously a joke.
Mikey, buy one, sell one. Beyond Melee or Project Plus?
Project Plus did not rub me the right way, that trailer.
Is that it, or you want to expand?
That's it.
All right.
I am going to stick up for Beyond Melee. I think that the trailer was not good, but I think that it's okay to make a misstep. It's unfortunate if your misstep is literally your first entrance into the community. That being said, I don't think we need more fake Melee games. I'm sure it's fun. Yeah. I don't know why they took out characters, but whatever, fine. I'll say, yeah, Project Plus. Dude, Project Plus is at like 4 different majors. It's at its own major and is at 3 of 3 announced 2021 majors. If I have to pick one fake Melee game, I will pick that fake Melee game. That fake Melee game that we played before rollback came out.
Especially because it's a lot of, my question about Beyond Melee, aside from, the trailer and what they said about Project Plus, is like, who are they expecting to like play that game? I don't think they're going to get converts from Project Plus, right?
All right.
I don't think that's where the player base is coming from.
You're cut off.
Okay, we just gotta keep it moving.
Can't.
That's all. All right. So that was Mikey. Okay, Wheat. The next segment is Are You Buying the Dip? So I'm gonna name a stock that's currently at low evaluation, and you're gonna tell me if you're gonna buy it with the expectation that it's gonna get better over the next few months or so. So Wheat, are you buying the dip on Ty?
Yeah, I will always buy the dip on Ty. Ty he acts like clockwork. He is like the moon, waxing and waning. He will always have tournaments where he loses to Tank and gets 5th at this tournament where he's seeded like 2nd, and it'll be like, dude, is Ty top 100 this year? He will always have those moments. I think we're kind of going to see that currently. After, I mean, it's a crew battle performance is a lot to take away, but
yeah.
I definitely think that he will have a bunch of those weird performances in the first half of 2022, and then somehow in September he will get like 2 top 50 wins at a bracket, get top 64 at the big house, and end up 72nd in the world again. He can't be stopped.
Mikey?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much in the same boat. I do want to say also that every Arizona Melee player does have the built-in John of having to play their Slippy through Cox Communications internet services. So yeah, that's not good. And I think we'll reflect better when we come back in person. So yeah, buying the dip on Ty, so to speak.
Interesting. Mikey, that leads us into the second question for Are You Buying the Dip? Are you buying the dip on Axe's Pikachu?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way it could be worse, right? I don't know. I mean, there were some good performances in there. I think he did well at Smash Summit 10, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think there's just something about. I don't really know what it is with certain players in net play that make their performances, uncharacteristically bad. But I think that was kind of the case even like before Slippy with Axe, even though it's a different ball game. But either way, I'm buying the dip here. Not to be biased. I mean, these are all Arizona players, so I feel like I'm kind of prone to saying that they're going to perform better. But yeah, I think Axe is going to do significantly better once we head back in.
Tell me, Wheat.
I'll do it. Currently, he is playing like he is Don't Test Me, which is very weird. He's playing like he's by far the best, and he gets to pull out his Scorpion Master because the characters that we've seen from him in the past like 6 months have been like Marth, Young Link, Falco, Ices. But his actual Pikachu results in 2021 have been like losing to Billy Bo Peep and Toussaint.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really get much lower than this. Do I think he's going to be like top 5? Dude, I wasn't calling that he was going to stay top 5 when he was top 5. He might not be like gaining to new heights, but yeah, dude, he will get back to some level as long as he doesn't do what Ambi wants him to do, which is become a Fox main.
No, he's not gonna fucking do that. He's flirted with that for years now. He must put
the temptation.
All right, and Wheat, are you buying the dip on the Crimson Blur?
I don't know what there is to buy.
What does that
I don't know
mean?
what the dip is. This is, man, what an esoteric question. I guess I won't. He's currently like, is he still in his Slay the Spire hole? We haven't seen him recently. I think he will make more tweets that make people angry, but I don't know if that makes his stock go up. It's kind of a confusing question, but I don't know. Ever since I went to dinner with him at Genesis 7 and I tried to complain about how you changed your Smash account from This Day in Smash to your personal account, and he was like, I respect that. Ever since he said that, he's kind of put me off.
Yeah.
So I will not buy out of principle.
Edwin, before I answer this question, can I ask if you can offer some falsifiable criteria as to why Crimson Blur is on a dip?
Yeah, sure.
I'm joking.
Okay, all right.
I'm making fun of you again. I'm sorry. Anyway, Jesus, yeah. I guess. I mean, I got picked for Summit commentary over him, but I don't know if he's like chasing the commentary gigs like that. People do compare us a lot. Jesus, there was one Twitch comment that said I look like a shorter, gayer Crimson Blur, which is
how do you respond to that?
You don't say thank you, I guess. Probably the best way to respond to that. Yeah, I have a soft spot for Blur, I will say, as a commentator. He does make tweets that make people angry, and that is hard to ignore. But you know what? I think Crimson Blur is going to be a top 100 player this year. I'll come out.
All right. And for the last question of the Edwin Budding Stock Exchange, this is for the final segment, Market Watch, which is kind of like a grab bag of questions. So, Mikey, I know this is a lot to predict, given that we have a bunch of months until this happens. But tell me, if you had to pick a player right now, who is the next surprise, unexpected, quote-unquote meme pick for Summit?
I would like to see Ben Snape give it another run with a little experience under the belt. Maybe pick a different Smash Ultimate set as his selling point. But I saw some good energy behind Ben Snape, though admittedly it was mostly in the Melee Stats Discord. So yeah, we'll go with Ben Snape. I'll get behind a little Ben Snape pick next time.
All right, and you get the last word.
I love the energy of picking a Melee Stats patron, and I'm going to match you on that. I'm not going to pick Grab, although that's a great choice, or Louisiana's Rabbit, both great choices. I'm going to pick Dark Genix.
That's a good one.
That's
a really good pick.
He's been killing it on like every end. Dude, the content he's put out, Content Panel Pro, his co-content panel guy right here, has been really, really good. It's crazy to see something that is like maybe non-essential as like the memes he puts out just be so high quality. But I think that he is a person who puts he has a high quality control. You can see that in his seeding, his tournament organization. You can see that in his content creation, and also snow halation. Content creation and snow halation.
Yep.
So I would love to see him make his like 8th summit and it be his first as a competitor.
All right, this was a great stock exchange. A lot of good answers between you two. I'm gonna have to give it to Wheat for the final one. So congratulations, Wheat. You have won another edition of the Edwin Budding Stock Exchange.
That's
you
correct.
Get your minute of fame.
I thought I was gonna lose this one. I mean, we should mention that this is rigged. From the moment Edwin Budding's Stock Exchange starts, he's already decided who's gonna win. But I do appreciate the game nonetheless, going through the motions of it all. And I will say this. I might have come out on top this time, but Mikey, I think you're going to come out on top when it comes to the NBA Finals, mostly because my team has already been eliminated.
There we have it.
My team eliminated, Mikey's will win.
Not too many people on my team who can't shoot jump shots, so that's good.
And a former Sixer on your team, the genesis of the entire fish meme.
Mikhail Bridges, who was a Sixer for all of 2 hours or something.
Yeah, he got drafted. He grew up in the Philadelphia area. He went to Villanova, which is obviously a big Philadelphia basketball college. His mom worked for the 76ers.
Yeah, that's right.
What a dream to be drafted by your childhood team. And then, we just kind of shipped him out for Zaire Smith, like almost immediately. So,
oh, man.
I don't know. I still love the guy, still rooting for him, even if he was only a Sixer for like less than a day.
I'm a huge Mikhail fan. He reminds me of Sean Marion, who is my favorite childhood player a little bit. So, big fan.
Well, we're talking about the NBA Finals. I think it's time we get to probably the biggest analog that Smash has seen in, dude, how long? Maybe LACS, but going back before then, probably Smash Summit 9. Like, we are seeing what is the first major, even though it's only 16 players, we're seeing the first major, not only of 2021, but in like 18 months' time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, there's so much to get into here. Obviously, we're talking about Smash Summit 11. So I want to talk about some specific predictions a little further on. We're going to talk about who's going to win. We're going to talk about, obviously, all roads lead to HBox. Unfortunately, we cannot have an episode where we don't discuss HBox. So we're going to talk about him. But before we get into that, I just want broad predictions. We have 16 players here. We have pools. We have gauntlet pools because Aiden is a freak in a good way. Mm-hmm. And we have a final bracket. So we are going to see a lot of matches. And like, what any predictions we got of these 16 players? Mikey?
It's hard to argue against Zane. I think it helps that, like S2J is not there. That's one more player for him to kind of dodge a little bit in terms of people who could give him trouble in bracket. Axe is a huge wild card in that regard. And I think further, the gauntlet pools are a huge wild card because it's going to be a little bit harder for us to predict like who's going to have to play against who as the course of the tournament goes on. But, the results kind of speak for themselves. I think, Zane Mango Grand Finals is, a pretty easy prediction to make, but I think it's the most likely outcome here. But like, who knows what's going to happen with the transition from online to LAN Melee. HBox could return to form, Axe could return to form, and those are two people obviously who can give Zane and Mango trouble. So I don't know, man. I want to see the new players do well. Also, I think this is a really cool opportunity for us to see some fresh faces, not just Nick, but Pipsqueak and Aklo and LSD as well. And Toussaint getting another shot at it is hype, given how he's been playing recently online. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if I have too many like specific predictions about bracket, but those are kind of the trends that I'm looking forward to seeing. Gauntlet pools is weird, and I will have to understand that as we go along and read up on them a little bit more.
The glory of an Aiden run event is always like desperately trying to figure out what is happening during it.
Yeah,
it is some sort of weird like fever dream of a Melee tournament, but they always turn out well. And we got what I hope is first of many. Unfortunately, he did announce that he will be leaving BTS to join the Lud Empire. But we got to see a beautiful stream where he yelled at people for saying that people who didn't like his seating. What a piece of content. 30 minutes of just an angry Tio. We need more of that. Get me on the line, Aiden. Next time I'll back you up. I'll be your hype man.
That is the representation that we need to see. That's what the Nick Yingling campaign's all about.
Hey, Nick Yingling was there. He was in the chat.
Yeah. Very hype. Lobbying to be a higher seed somehow.
Put him first seed. Put Zane 16th. Put him first. See what happens.
Nothing changes, which is why it's hype.
But yeah, I know Edwin has some players who he thinks are going to do well. So I'm going to stick away from these players, and I'm going to predict some people who I think might have some really good sets here. Like you said, it's hard to talk about specific sets, but I think not having this like really easy to follow bracket means that we can talk about like how people are generally going to do instead of being like, oh, this guy's got to play a Fox and then a Marth. We can talk about how they will do versus the field, which I think like opens us up to a more broad conversation. I think Aklo really could shine here. I think the only misgiving I have about any of this is his initial pool is people who have been relatively active online, which kind of stinks. It would be really cool to see this guy who has never been outside New York get to play people on LAN who he has like never gotten a chance to play even online. But just seeing him on LAN will be a sight to behold. He was a monster in those Hax's Nightclub performances. It was like Shine Mining, Swooper, and all that shit. So he will be sick to see. I think his matchup spread against like Fox and the floaty characters, I think he has such a lock on all of that. I don't know about the link. I don't know about that, but other than that, I think that he will. This is a good chance for him to really shine.
Yeah,
Edwin, say yours. I know what they are, but we have to go through the motions.
So I think one of the most interesting players to watch at Summit, in spite of all my bias, I think is LSD. I could see that. I could see LSD making a massive run to top 8 where they just beat every spacey they play and look like someone who's going to be the best player in the world in 2 years. Or I could see them losing every single set they play and just flaming out. I think their potential as a player is just so extraordinarily high, and just the way they play is exciting. It's volatile. I think their story is really compelling as someone who, you know, he came up in a region where he was young, he didn't have much access to travel. He was kind of in a closed talent pool for a while, and suddenly they had this massive blow up over rollback where they started beating everyone, taking names across several different matchups. In particular, I really want to see how LSD does against some of the players who aren't necessarily net plate grinders. So this kind of goes back into what Wheat was talking about with Aklo before, of wanting to see someone play someone that they don't normally play as much. So that's someone who I really want to see, because I think the way bracket could turn out is just so, for LSD in particular, is so dependent on the day. But I will say, on the topic of predictions, obviously Pipsqueak's status of attending Summit is a little up in the air now, given the border situation. But with the field that we know, or the field that we currently expect to be at Summit, all things considered, I think it's going to be very tough for Toussaint. And it's not because I think he hasn't improved. It's not because I don't think he's a good player or that he hasn't earned it or whatever. But I think, and funnily enough, I think this kind of applies to Hungrybox, but we just ignore it because we've seen Hungrybox dominate before. Yeah. I think this is a really tough field for Jigglypuff. You got to worry about Zane and Mango are obvious. You got to worry about Wizrobe and None. You got to worry about these terrifying spaceys that will run you over or camp you if they need to. It's going to be tough for Toussaint to really differentiate himself in the field as it's given right now. So I'm interested to see how he does.
So you mentioned Toussaint. You're completely right. And if you want to get into it, you're right. Zane is hard. Mango is hard. IBW, of course, is so clearly a favorite. Well, I don't. Who knows what fucking LAN HBox is going to be like. But with such a clear favorite against HBox in the net play events that we got to see, but even you get further down, and you get Pipsqueak, who I think has a lot of solo battle practice just from playing online. Not that they're like super close, but the European net play events that they do, they get to play a lot. You get LSD, who literally beat HBox. LSD was like the person who HBox went to relearn how to play versus Marth after Shine 2018. So obviously LSD has got some stuff. And then Aklo. I talked about those 2020 LAN performances we got to see from Aklo. I had such a feeling when watching him play at a Hax's nightclub. He barely lost to Toussaint. And when I see those types of losses, I think Toussaint's not going to think about this win, but Aklo is going to think about this loss the entire time. And the next time they played, Aklo, I think he like 3-0'd him. It might have been 3-1, whatever it was. I think this was at Scorpius to win.
It was the tournament where Toussaint stood up and then Aklo stood up back just to make fun.
That's right.
Dude, yeah. It's
on
like
the Zets TikTok.
Hey, we stand Smashcast around here.
Yeah, that's patron, by the way.
I think you're right. This is such a hard one for Toussaint, but I gotta bring up another question. Is this hard for AMSA? Like, I want to say it is, but AMSA's whole career has been being in Japan, and then months in between major performances, and everyone's like, he probably sucks now.
Yeah.
I bet he sucks. I bet he can't beat this person anymore. And then he comes back and he does better. So I guess I want to know, like, Mikey, do you got any secret AMSA thoughts that you want to drop on us? Obviously, Arizona, a famously weird place. Got some Yoshis there.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head as far as AMSA goes. I could see him beating None. I don't know about Zane. You would think that matchup could be something that would give Zane trouble, but he's just proven to be, pretty sound at dealing with the sort of AMSA trap that brackets can sometimes throw at you. I do not know if None will be as prepared for it. And I do not think that Nick Yingling will be enough, despite the matchup experience, to put up a fight.
God, what a bad player. You can't beat AMSA. Oh, my God.
It's just like, man, it's really like out of the frying pan into the fire. It's Summit, so it's to be expected. But, like, Nick just gets thrown in there with 3 of the top 20 melee players in the world.
It's tough because you throw them in any of those pools and it's super hard, but this one is like particularly egregiously high level. All these players are such killers. All top 8 material. Like all these players can make top 8.
Yeah.
AMSA, dude, I don't know. We've done this before, like I said, so it's hard to call him out. I'm not very certain that he's going to succeed. Maybe it gets like a 9th, maybe a 7th. But the thing I want to see more than anything else from AMSA, I want to see another HBox AMSA set. Those were so wild. Literally,
I'll say that looks bad for HBox right now.
Lost to Whiskers, lost to Beezim. Now, who knows? HGod only loses when he so chooses, so we really don't know what's going to happen. But as AMSA already beat HBox at a summit before, I think it was a Summit 6. I don't really remember off the top of my head, but he's already beaten him at Summit. Did he beat him at Summit twice? Was there like an 8 set or something like that? I don't even remember. But he's done very well versus HBox, and even sets like main stage that go like last game, like a timeout and stuff like that. Those are always hype. So I don't know what we are going to see from that. We might not even see it, but that is what I want to see. I really want to see AMSA versus HBox because I think that is a player who he could really do well against. And that is not only like proving grounds for AMSA, but that's proving grounds for HBox as well. Because I think right now, if you polled people who like cared about Melee since Summit 9, like people who watch online Melee, I think that they would count HBox out. So this is like a really funny set to be like such a determiner. Now it just never happened. I think that'd be a super fun one.
I'm actually interested to hear both of your takes on this. We haven't seen, just looking through each of Mango's different opponents and how tough they are, how favored he might be over them. How do you see Mango Amsa like for the first time when they play again? Because those two have always had a weird like rivalry with each other where it seems like Mango should be winning a lot, but then there'll be stretches where Amsa will beat him like a few times in a row. And just when you think, Amsa would be favored in their head to head, Mango just like washes him once or twice.
This has got to be like the hardest bracket to predict of all time, right? It's aside from
Yeah.
maybe you count like the bottom 4 seeds as people who you can kind of pencil in to like not get top 8 or something like that. But aside from that, geez, who knows what to expect, especially because Amsa hasn't played anyone from NA in so long. But you're right. This is exactly the kind of situation where I could see Mango going into that match against Amsa. We're feeling on top of the world, even if he's playing well that day, right? We're thinking like this is a Mango Grand Finals run.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
get like 3-0'd or 3-1 or something like that. And it's just
We've seen it before, yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It's happened multiple times.
Mango and Amsa is a very funny set history because I'm gonna pull a classic wheat here, but it's gonna be like modified classic wheat. So what I would do every week on the Melee Stats Deep Dives podcast is that no matter what happened to Leffen, I would say he's still one of the best in the world. It doesn't matter if he just got 5th. He's still the favorite to win next time. And I do that for Mango every time he plays Amsa. I will see him get washed by Amsa, and I'm like, I think he's got this next time. And that would sound dumb but if he didn't beat him at Genesis 7. I don't remember if it was a 3-0 or if it was 3-0, but it was a pretty commanding victory. He looked like I don't know. I want to say understood the matchup, but I also think that like Mango's understanding of matchups is it's very hard to say like has a typical understanding. But yeah, it seemed like he knew how to play versus Amsa and beat Amsa last time they played. Obviously, you're right. They haven't played since Genesis 7. That was January 2020.
Correct.
We can see a lot of different stuff, and the thing is, you don't know what your bracket's going to be, and the preparation time might be hard. You might not have like a Smash GG bracket, projected bracket that you can check, and then like, oh, I gotta remember how to play versus Yoshi. You might not have that. And in a situation like that, Amsa is definitely going to be more used to playing Falco than Mango would be for playing against Yoshi. Yeah, dude, I truly don't know. This is.
I mean, does Mango go Fox against him?
We saw him do that at some point. He did the thing where he like lost 2 games as Falco, went Fox, almost made a reverse 3-0, and then the next time he plays him, he beats him with Falco. We've seen a lot of Mango Fox in like the thumbnails of Mango's YouTube channel, so who knows? I feel like we've been tricked by this before. I guess a slight pivot would be, we talk about Mango Spaceys versus like Sheik or versus Yoshi. It's like who knows who he goes. What about Puff? He's got HBox in his pool. What do we see? Do we see the return of the Mango Fox?
I think he goes Fox.
2017 Dash Dance, or do we see the Scorp 2, as Ambi would call it?
He did tweet and he was like Fox against Marth, Fox against Falco, Fox against Puff, Fox against dumbass mid tiers or whatever he said. So
he tweets a lot of things.
Is it subterfuge is the question, right? And it very well might be. But I think for HBox in particular, I think chances are pretty high that the Mango Pup comes out to make an appearance.
Oh, okay. You said Mango Pup. I thought you said Puff for a moment. I was like, that would be very interesting.
P-U-P. Yeah.
Got it.
Fire Puff 12 popping off.
Yeah, the soul.
This was already clipped. Clip it and ship it. This is already on Fire Puff's YouTube channel. Yeah, dude. It will be really interesting to see. And I think something that could change how he thinks about this is the current pool that they have. So this is the only pool that has a double of any character. that we've seen. This is so it's no, I'm sorry. I think SFAT and Aklo are in the same pool as well. But Moki and Pipsqueak are in the same pool, and that is 2 Foxes who get to play against HBox. If you guys remember, I mean, it's hard to like boil down HBox's success to like, if everyone plays Fox, he's good. If everyone doesn't play Fox, he's bad. But he's had struggles in the past where he might have Zane in the Marth matchup, Wizzy in the Falcon matchup, Amsa, even if he's not winning, but giving him like struggles in the Yoshi matchup, and having this varied spread sometimes led to him bowing out at like 3rd or 4th or something.
Yeah.
But we've seen tournaments where he will get a Sheik player who goes Fox, and then he'll get a Falco player who goes Fox, and he'll get Fox player, and then he'll just all these people. And I don't know. Obviously, the play styles of Moki and Mango's Fox and Pipsqueak are all different, but if you wanted to like write a story where HBox comes back, I think that this is how it starts.
Yeah, and you know, Moki's been pretty hot lately. You know, Moki's had some good performances in SCL, and I think it was Gommel, right, that he got second to none there. Second to none. Anyway, but that's traditional. It's traditional HBox food, right? It's what he wants to see in the bracket. It's when he chooses not to lose, so to speak.
I mean, I guess this gets to it. We have to talk about it at some point. HBox is in bracket, and barring some sort of weird double DQ, HBox will have a placing in this bracket. So now we have to put our money where our mouth is, and we have to pick a placing. You can elaborate on it, why you think, or you can just give a number, but I think we have to all go around. Finally put our money on the line and just say a number. I will start. It's really tough. I'm going to say 5th. I think he is going to start in winners.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I don't know. It's tough because the gauntlet does give a lot more opportunities. You're not just like, so if you finish 3rd in your pool, you're not suddenly starting in losers. But I think he'll start in winners, and I think he'll get to winner semis and then lose to one of the top echelon of players. Because I think the Mango, Zane, that tier right there, they're just so clearly great that I think they have the edge. And then you get IBW, who is not at the like clear number 2 level, but is so good at that Puff matchup where I think he's still good versus HBox. You've got Wizzy, who's done well. Like, I think he will play someone in winter semis who gives him a really tough time, go down to losers, and then get 5th, losing to someone who just the same thing, has that Puff acumen and is able to take out HBox. So I'm gonna etch it into stone. I'm saying 5th place. Anoke, what do you think?
I'm trying to, a great show, The Sopranos, once taught me that in life, things don't neatly resolve in any extreme the way that you want it to. So I'm trying to think of the most unsatisfying and the most pointless outcome. I'm gonna say he gets 7th, but he gets 7th by virtue of a very difficult bracket turnout where he has to play like IBDW, who falls down early for 7th place, and he loses to like Zane in the winners bracket, or however it's set up in the gauntlet stage. I'm gonna say that he makes it out of his pool at 2nd place, but it's not convincing at all. But it's also not like enough to dismiss him entirely. And and he loses to Zane like 3-1, loses to IBDW maybe 3-2, 3-1 for 7th.
So you're saying we learned nothing?
Yes.
Nothing is to be learned from this event.
I'm gonna go with the least satisfying, because I genuinely could not tell you like with a straight face that
he doesn't do anything of note. He just kind of goes into work, clocks in, gets 7th, clocks out.
Yeah, maybe he gives us a fist bump if he like beats Moki in pools or something. But like, what does that really tell us?
I respect this. What would be the so if that's the if that's the analog to the Sopranos ending, what
the
would
David
be,
Chase ending.
what would be the analog to the Bobby Bacala scene on the boat where he kind of predicts the ending? Would that be HBox like on
Second to
commentary
Mango.
being like, okay, second to Mango, all right, dude, I love this. Are you gonna give us any more?
Well, yeah, okay,
Yeah, what's his path?
That's the hype ending, right? That's the dream.
Does
right?
he reset Grands?
He resets Grands, and
Oh,
and he
no.
gets second to Mango. That's the dream ending, right? That's what everyone will be talking about on the internet, I think. Man, what's likely to happen though? I guess we get who else is in his pool aside from Moki and Pipsqueak again?
Mango.
That's right, Mango. That's right. Jesus Christ.
What if he beats Mango but just gets washed by Moki and Pipsqueak?
That'd be great. That'd be a great moment in Melee history. And unfortunately, I can see it.
He just beats Mango in the most anticlimactic. It's like one of those 3-1 sets where like midway through Mango, it's kind of like the point where you see Mango just like give up and start running at him in the corner.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he's down like 3 stocks to 2 on Pokemon Stadium, down 2 games to 1, and he's just like naring, like just like running,
naring right into the corner.
And then he tweets that Pipsqueak is the best Fox versus Puff in the world or something. I can see it too vividly. But what I want to see vividly, I want to see this idea where he gets second. Let me hear some more about this, Mikey.
Yeah, you got to tell us the path. What does it look like?
I'm gonna say that HBox gets second at this tournament. I'm gonna say that he beats Mango in pools. I'm gonna say that he wins his pool outright, and I'm gonna say that. Geez.
So he beats Mango, Moki, and Pip or whoever might be there.
And I think he just gets whomped by Zane in grand finals probably, and then he
whoa, hold on. You said Mango won first.
No, there's 2 people in grand finals at this point.
No,
I guess 3
people. It was the dream scenario, right? But I think ultimately, I don't know if I can commit to this dude is the only thing. What HBox are we gonna see?
Dude, HBox should get 13th, and we'd all be taught. Like, none of us have any idea how he'll do because we don't know. Because the whole question is if rollback. So I think we can agree that given what the community had, rollback results mattered for the time being because we didn't have another alternative. But what the question is now is how much predictive value did any of that carry over, right? For LAN.
It's tough, right? I mean, like. It depends a lot for a certain level. I think that I could say pretty certainly that the players who we've seen at Summit, who flew under the radar, the Aklos, Pipsqueaks, LSD, all those players, I think have blown up across rollback. And you got to say, like, those are real. But HBox, different story. I really have no idea if any of it is real. Are we in a simulation right now? No, I can't possibly figure this out. So the most we can do is put a meaningless number out there and just watch and see what happens. See what he wants to do.
It's gonna be a hell of a ride.
Whatever he's going to get, he is going to shoot for this. If he wants to get first, he could get first. If he wants to get 13th, he can get 13th. He controls everything.
He chooses.
Speaking of first place, I guess it's time that we got to get down to brass tacks and we talk about where HBox is going to finish. None of us said first, so we gotta do the fun thing. Who is getting first here? Mikey, you said a couple different answers. The dream scenario is Mango, but I guess the realistic scenario is Zane.
I think it's Zane. I think Zane's going to win the tournament. I think he's just. Even I think it's fair to expect a dip in HBox performance from what we saw before. If nothing, just by like the adjustment, you're coming off of bad performances, stuff like that. I don't think that HBox is going to snap into prime HBox shape in a day or whatever, or even over the course of this week. And I think Zane is just primed to beat everyone else. I hate to say it, but I think if he runs into Axe, he probably wins. For the first time. even though that could be something that trips up the bracket for him, there are some places where it could be tripped up against like Nunn or Wizrobe or Mango when they eventually meet in bracket. But I think Zayn is just primed to beat all those people, and I don't really think there's a good argument to be made that he loses to anyone outside of that early in bracket to put him in a position where he has to make a loser's run. I think that he's he's kind of clear cut the favorite for me.
Edwin, what do you
Mikey,
think?
I think everything you're saying makes sense. I think Zayn by the numbers is the favorite, but I think it's going to be. I think while he did luck out by not having to deal with another tough matchup like SJ, I think Plup is going to be a problem for him. I think
That's true. That's a good point.
I think in addition to Axe being there, we've seen a bit of what Zayn versus Plup online looks like, and Zayn has had the advantage there. I'm not quite convinced that's going to carry over 1-to-1 to a LAN edition of Summit. So I think even if you want to say that Zayn is the favorite against Plup, which I think is not, it's not totally unreasonable. I think the fact that there's someone like Plup in bracket alongside Axe to prepare for, alongside Mango to prepare for, is Zayn favored in all of those matchups? Maybe, but I don't think they're not like gimmies. It's a lot to ask to prepare for Axe, to prepare for Plup, to prepare for Wizrobe, to prepare for Mango. There's so many people in this bracket that could give him a tough time, and I think you don't have to individually. Again, maybe he's favored, but cumulatively, that's a lot to ask for, and that's why I'm gonna pick Mango, because I think that if you were to look at Mango's tough matchups in this given competitor field, who does he have? There's Zayn, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
There's Plup, who Sheik has given him, has
some issues in the past.
Yeah, some issues in the past. But if you look lifelong at their head-to-head and typically how Mango does, Mango more often than not goes even or has a slight advantage with Plup. I think that we mentioned with Amsa before that Amsa has caught Mango off guard a few times, but I still expect Mango to win that. And more importantly, I think I expect Mango to turn a lot of those potentially scary matchups around in his favor more than I do for Zayn to overcome Axe and to show that his rollback performances are going to carry over into overcoming an overwhelmingly negative record against Plup. And I think Mango may not even have to be fair, you could make the same argument for Zayn also, but I think in Mango's case, I think in either case, they may not have to worry about Plup because Plup has to worry about all these terrifying spacies at the event as well, specifically Fox players. So I just don't think that. I think that it's very likely that Zayn will have to play Wizzy or Axe again, and I think those are scary for him. And I think it's very likely that Mango can kind of just focus on Zayn, keep his high baseline level of play against everyone else, and win. So Mango's going to be my pick.
It's wild that we haven't talked about Plup to this point, who is somebody who has major winning potential.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Edwin,
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say. We
took the words right out of my mouth, but we branched off at the very end. So we both have articles about who is likely to win Summit. You have yours on MeleeStats.co, which is already out. I have mine coming out on PGStats.com sometime later this week.
Go look.
Yeah, you read my one article, who the heck is Nick Yingling now, and look for the other one, which doesn't have as fun of a title. But we both end up with a really similar look at Plup. You said Plup is the third most likely to win. I hedged my bets. This is not ranked, but I would probably put him third or fourth. But I'm going to say it. I'll pick Plup. One, it's never fun to pick the favorite, which is Zayn. But you're right. Plup's bracket is really scary because it is the time where he has to show, can he beat Fox players, which is something we used to see when he was winning. Well, I guess he only really won one major, but when he was at a major winning caliber, SFAT was maybe not very scary, or a top 20 Fox player was not that scary. But now we've kind of in a different role. You're right. Moki is scary for him. IBW, I think, is probably one of the
really
biggest
tough
threats. The only other big threat who would be at that level, SFAT. like a really surprising person to give him that much trouble, but historically has just been like the bane of existence. Regardless, you're right. Zane's bracket, I think he's favored over every single person. But I think it's 60-40, 65-35. It's all stuff where I don't think any of it is a sure bet. You give him Axe. We talked about that. So that's super hard. Mango could beat him. The Falcons, Wizzy and Nunn, both potential to beat him. And then you get to Plup. Obviously, it's been someone who's so good at that matchup. And what we've seen of Plup before has been a little tough. Hasn't entered a lot. And the stuff that he's entered is usually high caliber. So he's playing a lot of really good people. It's like an SCL type thing. That's the only thing you get to see him at. And there's not a lot of info that can be grabbed from playing the best players. But he did well there. And what we saw in the LAN Plup Showdown exhibitions, 5-0 Gatsu, 5-1 Wizzy. Like, dude, it might be the time for Plup to, he got to the last LAN Summit. He got to set to a grand finals. This might be the time where we get to see him take the whole thing. I would love to see that. That would be so sick.
I would love to see it too.
Are we all picking a new Summit winner who has never won Summit before?
Zane won Summit 10 online.
That's right.
Whatever you want to count that. I mean, obviously that meant a lot, but I think like in terms of like bona fide Summit champions, you have Armada 4 times. You got HBox 3 times, and I think it's like Axe and Mewtwo King 1 apiece.
Yeah.
So like definitely I think there's a great chance that we see a new entrant into that. And if we don't, then it's HBox or Axe, which is wild. So anyway,
we're seeing some
history. We're seeing some history one way or another. So it is going to be such a sick event.
Dude, you mentioned IBDW and SFAT SK for Plup. Like, dude, I think Aklo is scary for Plup.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Plup's pool has IBW in it. That's tough. I'm not too scared about Toussaint. I'm not too scared about Axe. It's definitely something where it needs that would be a good time to show what Plup we're dealing with. Because we've seen the like proficient Sheik Plup where he looks like he's like the fastest player in the world. And that I have a lot of confidence in. And then we've seen the Plup who like goes Fox all the time, and that I have like no confidence in. Yeah. I think his Fox is amazing. It's not an issue of that. It's just it tends to be if he's going Fox, his mentality might be not in the same headspace as his Sheik is. But yeah, I mean, IBW super hard. He could end up second in that pool. That could put him in a gauntlet scenario where he might have to play SFAT, Moki, Aklo, like the type of player who could make it that far in Gauntlet, and then he gets bracket. Like the fact that he has 3 Fox players of that caliber who are just like really scary threats and has to play them in so many sets, be it Gauntlet, pools, or final bracket. It is scary, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to call it. Why not? Plup victory.
Well, maybe he either beats them in the Fox Ditto for some of the stages that aren't friendly to Sheik, or he just goes Samus on those stages and catches them off guard. Who knows? you never know. What like a small part of me is like, like he seems to be struggling with IBW. What if he just pulls out the Samus? It's not like what kind of practice?
I don't think he's gonna do it. And I do look. IBW is our first guest. We're waiting for game. IBW. Really sick guy.
Very friendly to us.
Very friendly to us. Has been really nice to Melee Stats even when we weren't a 20K subscriber YouTube channel. Shout outs to everyone. So obviously I like him. He's a really cool guy. I've had some sick chats with him. That being said, I think he's going to get destroyed by Plum Samus. I have seen those friendlies. If it were to happen, I would be scared for, stage dependent, of course, but yeah, that would be, it's one of those weird things where I think Plum Samus would do well, but also by virtue of him going Samus, I'd have to worry about
the rest.
He's at. Yeah. Definitely a lot of questions for him. I think he might not get, I pick first, but might not get first, but a top 3, dude, I think that's really in his grasp. Is there anything else we want to talk about Summit? This is the first big event, largest prize pot of Melee history. It's like,
You're welcome.
yeah, thank you. And thank you, someone who bought 602 Slippy hats.
So, okay, I
Not even
have a
one
good,
person. I don't know.
I have a good question that I want to hear your 2 thoughts on. How many? So, what I mentioned in my column is that. So, I wrote a column previewing Summit earlier this week, as we alluded to. I wrote that I think that there are 4 people who could realistically win the event: Zane, Mango, Plup, and Wizrobe. And then I mentioned 3 people for if the stars align properly, IBW, Hungrybox, or Axe could like maybe have like a minuscule chance of winning it if everything goes right. Is there anyone else that or I guess to put it bluntly, how many people do you guys think have a realistic chance at winning this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, it's good answers right there. I would pick the same 4 as favorites.
Yeah.
IBW, in my column, I got into this a tiny bit, but I think that he is someone who needs the right bracket. I don't think he's at the point right now where he can do it regardless. I mean, that's not a knock on him. There's a lot of players who need the right bracket. Even some of the favorites need the right bracket.
Mm-hmm.
But he might need it to be configured in a very specific way. And I think HBox would probably be the same way. I think you're right about that. Dude, if we're going to talk about brackets, like perfect brackets, why don't we just bring up AMSA? Like, I don't know what could happen, but I definitely think that there is an ideal bracket that we can see. I mean, it gets tough at the end because that caliber of player who would be in like a grand final situation does really well versus AMSA. We saw I think IBW won his like first set versus AMSA ever.
Yeah, I don't see it
rare
with
to see.
AMSA, unfortunately. And it's a shame because I think with AMSA especially, like if you looked historically when he was doing really well, he had wins on all the top players except for Armada.
Yeah.
And you would think that without Armada or without a top level Peach at this event that it would be much easier for him. But frankly, I think the Spaceys or I think the Fox players just are really scary for him.
We said this the entire time. We say this all the time.
It's true, yeah.
I can't count him out. If you want to talk about minuscule chances, he's got it. None. He's someone who I don't think has that those really hard matchups that AMSA might have. I mean, I think he's got really tough matchups.
Mango.
But it's like that's the thing about Falcon. Falcon is just fast Zangief, and he can just do that. And none is able to like use that to his advantage. I think that none gets hit hard by certain player matchups, but I never think that he doesn't have a chance to win. If you told me like give him 50 sets with Mango, I'm saying he's still winning 3. Like I don't think it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
He just has that ability to turn it on, and like he did versus Mewtwo King, like he did versus Mango at EGLX 2019. Like he is a streak breaker for a reason. I
just think it's tough for it all to happen at once.
Well, that's the question. The question is, it has to be stars aligned, right?
Fair,
like he's
fair
not
enough.
a Wizzy. Wizzy, if you give me like Wizzy versus HBox or Wizzy versus Plup, those type of matchups, I think Wizzy has a better win percentage. But like, if there's I don't know, there might be matchups that I don't see Wizzy winning at all, that I could see none eking out something.
And the thing is that in a post-Armada world, and even in a pre-Armada world with Mewtwo King, I think Summon is a good place for the stars to start aligning for you, especially in its later iterations, especially with Axe. That being the only major that he's won, obviously, it's like I think the format of having, a limited amount of sets to play, which I mean, there are a lot of sets to play here to be fair, but it's not like you're coming off of this like huge bracket where you've had to play like 8 different people who you have no idea about. You're in sort of like a concentrated environment where you have a lot of information about the games that you're going to have to play and that sort of thing. And who knows, like there could be just, like you said, stars can align. I think it's kind of unlikely for it to happen for like Axe or none or, Who's the first player we talked about? Anyway, you know, it's unlikely, but it's not out of the question. I would have said we probably would have said a similar thing about Axe before Smash Summit 8.
I just thought, Mikey, you mentioned the dream bracket would have Mango winning and HBox finishing second. Well, do I have a compliment to that? I like to call this the nightmare bracket. So just imagine this, okay? Imagine SFAT's having the tournament performance of his life.
Amazing.
He makes it to top 8 of winners. He plays Zane or whatever in winners semifinals, and he beats him. He beats him 3-2 or whatever. He goes to grand finals, plays a Fox Ditto against fellow upstart IBDW, who's having the tournament performance of his life, because IBDW also beat Mango for the first time in a long time. And let's say SFAT clutches it out over IBDW in a tight 5-game Fox Ditto. He's sitting in winner's side of grand finals, and then coming all the way from losers after dropping an early set is Hungrybox. Hungrybox meets SFAT in grand finals, wins a heartbreaker set 1, 3-2, and then 3-0s him in set 2 and pops off.
Edwin, jeez, you're manifesting this. I talked about, I was on like pure copium at the time, but in 2018, maybe 2019, I talked about like, I don't like HBox, but I think HBox would be cool as a top 10 player, like a 9th best player in the world, someone who had the chance of winning, but didn't always win. Now we have that. We have the HBox who has
I feel
the
like
threat
it's
of
more
winning.
terrifying.
And it's
I feel like
scary.
It's more scary.
It's not good. He could do this at any time. And then, like, it's just like flashbacks when we all know it's happening. That's rough.
Mikey, if you've ever watched an HBox set with Wheat, like in person, it's so funny. Within the first like 6 seconds of HBox gets knocked down, jab reset, Wheat will like look at me frantically and be like, "It's over. HBox is winning the set."
Every time I've said it's over, I've been right.
Yeah.
I've walked it, like I walk out, I live my life. I see that jab reset rest on like the first counter pick, and I have a new lease on life. Suddenly, I get all this time to myself, 15 minutes of my life that I wouldn't have otherwise. No, I feel
like the classic is like your whoever your Fox is takes the first stock against HBox, and you're like, holy shit, nice. And you don't feel another good emotion rooting for that Fox player for the rest of the set.
It just only gets worse.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's HBox. There's no way we can have a Melee episode without talking about him. A Melee episode, a podcast episode.
He's like Thanos.
He could retire and we'd still talk about him every episode. We'd be like, would HBox win this? Who knows, man? I don't know. All I know is that this has been a wonderful episode, and Summit is going to be, no matter how it ends up, if it does end up with HBox creating a nightmare situation over SFAT, or if it ends with dream scenario of 10-game grand finals, Mango over Zane or something, who knows? Like, regardless, I think that we will have a SCL, LACS, Big House 9 level of like hope and passion and love. And it's all because of the passion and love that's put into it by the BTS crew. So I gotta say shout outs to Aiden for that. Obviously doesn't do it by himself, but he's always brewing up some weird things and still has time to be on our shows. So I appreciate that. But I mean, we're on our way out here. Mikey, I really do appreciate you for being on. You are literally from your Summit hotel room. You are like second to Pipsqueak, who did this at 5 a.m. European time, in terms of our guests who were so selfless on being on. You were texting me from your Uber about how, like, when you'd show up.
It's sweating.
Dude, what a gift for you to do this. I appreciate this so much.
Always fun. I did say during the campaign that I'd go on anyone's podcast, and that offer stands long into the future. So, whenever is good, I'll drop a reasonable amount of things to come on through.
Well, Cheat, we actually have a couple questions for you from our patrons, so
Very nice.
we can quickly get over them. The first one from Dark Gen X, Wheat's pick from the stock exchange. What's your marketing advice for future Perspective Summit meme picks?
That is a really good question. I just make content that you like. Have friends, have them make things also. It's magical. Change your profile pictures. That worked really well.
All right. Well, I'll go to another one. Oh God, this is a bad question.
This is a hallmark of the Patreon exclusive questions. Is
God. Okay.
We always have to tell them how bad questions they make, and then usually after doing that, they write some good ones.
All right. Here's one from patron in Pittsburgh figure Johnny Gamble. What is the Cheat's favorite crowd moment at an Arizona event? And just generally, what's your favorite crowd moment when out of region?
I think my favorite crowd that I've ever been in is actually Flatiron 3, where Axe made it to grand finals and reset the bracket against Leffen. And we were...
That's a great set.
Yeah, that was a vibe in that venue. We were imploring Axe to flip a water bottle, and he did it, and I think he landed it, if I remember correctly. That was very hype. That was great. I talk about a lot. Smash the Target in 2015 was at the time the largest Arizona Melee tournament ever, and it was only like 120 people, and we've had like weeklies that have blown that out of the fucking water at this point. But at the time, it felt amazing. It was Westball's Axe Grand Finals, and just a small venue packed full of people who were inordinately hype about this regional rivalry that was brewing, and ultimately ended up being, for a while, like a very exciting rivalry between the two of them. So that was like the first big tournament I went to, and I have honestly been chasing that high ever since. So those are my answers there.
Cool.
Well, this kind of ties into this. What would be your favorite chant? AZ known for a lot of crowd chants. You have a particular one?
Yes, sweet. That would be "fuck my tiny ass." Thank you very much. That is my favorite.
I think I knew what I was getting into with that.
Yeah, there you go.
Is there any merchandise that would that you could buy that would have that emblazoned on it?
I tell you what, if there is, it certainly isn't on Smash GG.
All right, here's one from Yamham. What are you most looking forward to about the return to offline events?
The uncertainty. This feels like must-see TV in a way that Melee hasn't felt like in a long time. And I think a lot of that is because for those of us who have been paying attention, it's a lot of anticipation about what this looks like. And as evidenced by this podcast, there are few certainties involved in that. So I think that's super exciting.
Wait. Who's the guy from 21 Jump Street? Ambi, why did you ask that?
Not the cheat. It's a reference.
What is the cheat's favorite Pop-Tart flavor? And favorite cereal? Okay, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
Yeah,
Toast Crunch is good. Brown cinnamon sugar. Cinnamon's good. All the way around. Pop-Tarts and cereal, I guess.
Do you have 2 queen beds in your room right now, or do you get 1 king?
Yeah, 2 queen beds, one for me and one for Nick Yingling.
Are you guys rooming together?
Yeah.
I was gonna say
I picked up the reference. Sweet.
If you were
yeah.
I mean, there is a very classic Melee stats reference that regards to that. But I was actually gonna say, what I like to do if I'm in a hotel room by myself, 1 bed is the sleeping bed and 1 bed is the eating bed. So that if it was just you, that could be your sleeping bed, and then you could have your cinnamon experience bed.
I do have this nice desk here that I could eat upon if I wanted to.
It's not the same as the thing.
You're a fiend, Wheat. The staff at the hotels must fucking hate you.
No, I'm very nice. I do tip the staff and I do clean it up. Except when we left Genesis 6 Hotel, there were a lot of beer bottles and a non. But other than that, yeah, there's a piece of naan.
Okay.
Other than that, I've had an impeccable record of, I love the service industry. I think that it's really good to help them out whenever you can, because usually their jobs aren't helping them out. I'm kind of a labor king, I would say. But in that same regards, I love to eat on Bennett's.
Just for reference, the naan was definitely not mine, Eric. I see you in the chat. Naan was not for me. I would never do that.
No, the naan was from. I went to an Indian place with Jim Jam Flim Flam and Ding and Papa Nooch. That is actually where I heard that Mango beat that Magi beat Mango. It was it's like when everyone says, like, you remember where you were when you heard about 9/11. That was my experience.
Well, I don't know if that I understand what you're saying. It seems like very
sorry,
different.
maybe not 9/11. What about the JFK assassination? Is that a better?
Do you know that I heard about Kobe Bryant dying because I was walking behind Chillin' Dude and somebody else, and that person told Chillin' Dude that. And then I looked at my phone.
I had something similar. I heard people talking about on the way to the theater at Genesis 7.
What a weird day.
Yeah.
Local Move Zane wins Genesis 7.
And Kobe Bryant died.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Mikey, actually, I was going to transition. Here's a quick little question from Vlerk from the Netherlands. He wants to know how to pronounce your last name. So I'm sure this has been like every substitute teacher's thing that they ask you immediately. But
correct. The woman dropped first time yesterday, which is crazy. It's Iosu, but that's not how my ancestors pronounce it. They pronounce it Iosue. We Americanized it. So
interesting.
It's Iosu.
Well, now I know. I always thought it was like I used to.
Yeah, you're in the ballpark of how it's supposed to be.
So, Mikey, usually, since we seem to be done with the questions already, usually what we do at the end of the show, this is kind of a segment we've been doing for a while, is that each of us gets to talk about something that we're doing outside of Melee or something we've done outside of Melee for the last week. This is just kind of a reminder to our audience that we have lives outside of Melee, hobbies.
Well, I mean, Mike, you're really good at this because, it can be something we've done, an activity, something that's interested us, just something that has been a part of our lives recently that is not Melee. And you're great about this because if there's one thing that you know from looking at your Twitter is that, sure, you might like Melee, but you really like the Phoenix Suns. Now, I don't want to lead your answer anywhere, but I just want to give you like an idea of like. Me and Edwin were just kind of Melee weirdos, and if we didn't say that we like other things, people wouldn't know that. But you kind of have a more well-rounded personality. But yeah, this would be your time to let anyone in on something that maybe you like that the greater community might not know, or maybe you just say Suns in 5.
I guess so. Suns in 5 I think is ubiquitous. Kind of goes without saying. You know this already. I mentioned already that I love my wife very much. That's great. I love
mine too.
Yeah, there you go. One other thing that I think is worth mentioning is that somebody from the Melee Stats server caught me on GeoGuessr the other day with the tag Yingling for Summit. And I love GeoGuessr. I never get Lithuania wrong. Now, level 51, been grinding that pretty hard. So highly recommend GeoGuessr, but also primarily Suns in 5.
Mikey, would you believe that one of my whatever this segment's called, the unnamed segment, one of my answers for this was Geo Wizard on YouTube. The Ludwig collaborator.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is an awesome answer. I've seen your streams. You kill it. Good audience interaction. You answered the top 5 Sun players of all time, and we had the same exact list, so that's sick.
Yeah.
I guess for my answer, this past week, as Whitney for Gamers understood, I was on vacation. I got to go to the shore, as we call it, the Jersey Shore. I was in Ocean City, New Jersey, which is the same place I was, Scar has tweeted from pictures from Ocean City, New Jersey on the boardwalk while I was on the boardwalk. So definitely some deep Smash history there as well.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, super fun experience. Obviously, being on vacation is something that I'm very privileged to have. I know that a lot of people in the world don't have that luxury. But one of the things that I've loved most about vacation, and something that I'm able to do since it's a longer vacation, is just those moments where you do nothing. My family's a big planner. We do lots of fun stuff, and everyone's got these really fun, quirky things those are great. But sometimes the things you look back on is just reading a book or taking a walk, something that you could do literally where you just came from, but instead you're doing it in a different place, and it means so much to me. In traveling for Smash and just traveling otherwise, some of the deepest sense memories I have tend to be by myself with my headphones in, walking around a place I've never been before. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I've been. I walked the entire boardwalk. It was 2.5 miles one way, 2.5 miles the other. Put in a couple albums, and I just looked at the ocean. That was a wonderful experience.
Sometimes it's great to not have plans, Not having plans feels good.
All right, Edwin, come on.
I was trying to see how long I can keep that in for. All right, so the last week I've actually been pretty busy because my spouse has been pretty sick. So a couple days ago I decided, or no, it wasn't a couple days ago. It was just yesterday. Yesterday I decided to bake some cookies for the first time for both of us. And let me tell you, there's nothing better to do when your significant other is sick than to bake them cookies. This shit is a mood lifter. And it's also incredible. Makes them view you better. You get to have cookies also with whatever drink you want. It's just
Did they like
all
them or
around.
no?
Yeah, they love them. So it was great. You just have basic chocolate chip cookies, get some milk, or sometimes I make chai in the afternoon, so I'd have chocolate chip cookies and chai. I know that sounds like a really strange combination, but trust me, it works. But now I have this new problem where I have 20 cookies just over there. It's off screen. You can't see them. None of it is for you guys. None of you are having cookies. It's just for it's just
We're
for
not
me.
getting hugs. We're not getting cookies.
Yeah, no hugs, no cookies. It's just for me and cacti. But but yeah, so now I just have a bunch of cookies. Now, if you've been listening to this show for a while, you'll note that a few weeks ago I talked about taking nutrition and fitness a lot more seriously. So you'll know that this is a big problem, right? So I've kind of developed this new strategy to make sure that I hit my exact amount of protein per day while not crossing my calorie requirements. And I have to say, it's not easy. So now that I have these 20 cookies off screen, again, just for me and my spouse, I have to factor in the fact that I'm going to have one or two each day. And so I basically have 1,300 calories to work around to make sure that I'm still getting my macros and nutrients in and everything, right? So I've been having
This keeps going. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on. I think this is a great story. I also think that the idea of having a segment where we talk about our life has just really opened up the pathway for this to just be a health podcast.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is you shouldn't do what I'm doing right now. So because basically
don't bake cookies for your sick spouse.
No, do that, but don't have a 1,500 calorie diet where it's effectively 1,300 because you have to have those cookies. Today, my dinner was literally just cheese and a protein shake. Oh, and a cookie. That's right.
Mikey, I talked about before how I think you are the second most devoted guest we've ever had because you are literally doing this from your Summit hotel room. I think after this, I might have to say you're number one.
For sitting through the great Edwin Budding cookie anecdote of 2021.
Yes, I think that you're such a trooper for this, and I cannot thank you more. But yeah, I mean, dude, you have been such a great guest.
It's been really fun having you on.
You're a 2-time guest now in the Melee Stats universe. So
Like Dr. Disrespect.
you get 3 more. You get a jacket. I think that's what we established. Ever since we established that, now we figured out Aiden's at 4, so we can't have him on again.
Not in the budget.
So we do not have the budget for a jacket right now. No, but you have been such a great guest. I appreciate it so much. Obviously, you have, if people know you, they probably have seen your Twitter with the famous profile picture. But it's time for you to plug anything you want. I've seen you streaming on Twitch. I've seen you on Twitter. What do you got for us?
Yeah, most of the action's on Twitter, at thecheat.com. One day it will be at the cheat when I find that man's house and do an unspeakable act. But until now, at thecheat.com, _cheat on Twitch, and catch me on commentary for Smash Summit this week. Twitch.tv/BTS Smash. This was fantastic. This was a really, really great conversation. I really appreciate being able to sit here from my hotel room in West Covina, California, and talk to y'all.
And Edwin, I will do my darndest. I gotta check out the episode that I wasn't on last week. I gotta see how you did the plugs. So it might be a little rusty, but if you like this, if you like our podcast, you can watch us live on twitch.tv/Melee Stats. You can also watch the videos we put out. We still have that full-length video, Rip Captain Falcon, that you can see. That's at Melee Stats on YouTube. If you like these episodes and if you want to see bonus content, we do that at the Melee Stats archive, also on YouTube. You can find our tweets, daily reporting tweets, and sometimes a meme or two. You can find those at twitter.com/Melee Stats Pod. If you want to read Monday Morning Marth, read When's Melee, you can do so at meleestats.co. And if you love all that and want to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/Melee Stats. Edwin, did I miss anything?
You pretty much nailed it. It's been really awesome having you on, Cheat. It's wonderful to have you back on the show, as usual.
I'll never leave. I will die in this chair in front of all these CDs on this podcast. But until then,
more vacations.
No more vacations. That's what the boss said. That's what Edwin said. Until my fateful demise, this is the second time in a row that I've talked about my death on the show. Until then, I'm happy to host the show, and I am happy for you guys to watch. I appreciate you guys so much. And next week, we will talk about Summit. Dude, I am so excited. Peace out, everyone.
Take care, y'all.
Goodbye.